So as I just mentioned in the previous lecture, we're now going to have a look at the settings. Now, I know this is boring. I know it's not what you want to get into straight away, right? You want to start building out a fantastic looking store and adding products and all that kind of good stuff. But the settings are overlooked so often, and then later on, as I said before, down the road, people wonder why, for example, they can't figure out the shipping rates or their payment providers or whatever it might be. And it's all in the settings. So let's get into it. Let's get into the general settings to start with. So I've just clicked on settings there. I'm on the settings page and let's click on general. Now these are just setting up your, really are your general settings, right? You've got your store name. Now notice this is editable. You can change this. As I said before, when you were setting up your Shopify free trial, you can change the name of this at any stage if you want. So I could change this to Tim's, superb deals or whatever, should I fancy it. This is your account email and your customer email. Now this is how your customers are going to see you. This is where your notification emails are going to come from. So when somebody buys something from your Shopify store, for example, the email that they're going to see it coming from is going to be this email. Now you've got your store address. Now you remember when I set this thing up, I just chucked in, basically any old thing. I don't live at this address here at all, as you can probably tell from my accent. When you do get to the point of setting up a business, or if you're setting up a business for somebody else, then you're going to need to add this in here at this stage, the actual address of the store. Now, you might be thinking, well, in a virtual world, it doesn't really have an address. We're talking about your business address, where the invoices are raised is actually your business address. So let's, for example, say that you are living in Singapore and you have a business based in Singapore and you're selling all over the world. You would put the name of your legal business in Singapore in this particular part of the form. And then if we come down here, lastly, we have standards and formats. Now this is more just for reporting, for your point of view, okay? The time zone, basically just make sure it's the time zone that you are in. And then when it comes to your unit systems, make sure that, these are the unit systems that you want the majority of your customers to see. So if you're operating in the US, for example, you'll want to be talking about stuff in the imperial system. So, and the default rate would be pounds. But if you're more in sort of Europe or Australia, you're going to be more based on kilograms, right? You're going to be looking at the metric system, which is the other system. So, pick that basically depending on where the majority of your customers are going to lie. And then, of course, I think the currency is pretty self-explanatory. Now, this part here, this last part here, you don't have to worry about. So let's go back to the main settings. And in the next lecture, we'll talk about shipping.